Yo, what is good everybody? It's your boy Tej, and today I'm be showing y'all how to make an ambient beat for Young Thug and Gunna, kind of similar to the style of what WHEEZY would do. I made the entire beat from scratch, so I'm be showing y'all my entire process of creating the sample and adding drums to it. As I mentioned in a couple previous videos, I dropped my 2021 compilation loop kit. It includes over 150 loops. They're all categorized by type, and they also include the key, tempo, and stems. I'm extending the sale a couple more days. It'll be $10 off until January 4th. The link will be in the description. Be sure to go check it out. If you're new to the channel and you like these type of videos, be sure to hit subscribe. As always, I'll have the finished beat played at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. And with all that out of the way, let's hop right into the beat. All right, so to start off, I'm gonna show y'all a quick preview of the sample. Alright, so for this beat, I chose the key of D minor and a tempo of 143 BPM. So jumping into my first sound, I got this auto tack pluck preset from Omnisphere. I thought it was like a cool string type of vibe. I more or less just kind of used a handful of notes from the D minor scale. Mainly I used D, A, E, F, and A sharp. For the most part, I really relied on these notes right here, the A and A sharp, which is the 5th and 6th notes in the scale, and a lot on D, which is the first note in the scale. Those kind of create that like dark, mysterious type of vibe, and just use like other support notes, like your 2nd and 3rd note in the scale. So in this case, E and F. And for this pattern, I only made the first 4 measures, and I more or less just penciled in the notes where I thought they sounded good. So putting that into a mixer track, the first effect I put on it was an EQ. It's just a pretty simple low cut. Then I put some Vinyl 1 on RC20. I just kept the wobble, distortion, and magnetic, and I think I turned the wobble down a little bit. And then I put another EQ on it just to cut out some of the more twangier and harsher harmonic sounds. Next, I got this like ambient one shot, and I put this pretty simple pattern in. It's kind of similar to the notes that I mentioned earlier, where it's just D, A, and A sharp, or your 1st, 5th, and 6th note respectively. Next, I went into Contact and I got this factory flute preset, and I just went in here and I put in a few flute rolls. Again, I'm just using the D minor scale and those same notes I mentioned earlier. And again, for this, similar to the first pattern, I just penciled in some notes that I thought sounded good. For effects on that sound, I put a reverb on it. I think this is just the default preset for Fruity Reverb, and I just turned the wet up a little bit. And then I put an EQ on it just to boost certain frequencies and to cut out some of the lows. And then lastly, I added this sub bass, and I put in this bass pattern right here. Overall, it's pretty simple. It's just using the 1st and the 5th note in the scale. And then for the 2nd half, I just have this little section that kind of varies from the 1st half. So I rendered all those out as audio clips. I arranged the loop and added stems at the end of it, and then I rendered all those out as a WAV file. And also on the master track for the loop, I just put this EQ here to limit some of the resonance. That way it doesn't interfere with some of the drum sounds and make it sound a little cleaner. After that, I put it into a new project file, and this is where I added the drums and finished arranging and mixing it. I think for the most part, I used WHEEZY drum kit, except for the 808. I think I ended up using my own. So I grabbed this clap right here, and I put in a real simple clap pattern. And then after that, I added this hi-hat sound. And this is the same hi-hat pattern I've been using, I think, in the past couple of my tutorial videos. Coincidentally, I just used the same hi-hat MIDI for those two. Honestly, it works really well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And like I've said in a couple previous videos, I'm using the same technique of changing some of the note velocities within the 2-step pattern to add some more bounce to the hi-hats. And the little reverse sound that you're hearing on there is some effectrix that I put on it. It's just that and a little stutter effect. Next, I added the snare. And I put in a pretty basic snare pattern. I just have these snares on the end of the first beat of the even measures. I also have these snare rolls I put in here using the 1/2 step snap setting. And then I put in a few open hats. So the first one being this one. It's a pretty standard open hat sound. And then the next one is I put in this open hat with a bell. Again, that's like a pretty standard open hat sound. And for my third open hat sound, I put in the shorter open hat to kind of layer with the 808. Next, I added this rim perc, and this kind of goes along with the snare. I think it hits on the upbeat before the snare hits on every other even measure. Lastly, I added this 808. It's just a normal spins 808, just with a little bit of distortion, and I turned the out knob up a little bit so it's slightly shorter. And I also put an envelope on it, just turn everything down and the hold all the way up. That way the notes don't bleed into each other. And then I put in this pretty basic 808 pattern. For the most part, I'm just following this note right here. I have the other notes that I mentioned that I frequently used in the other parts of the melodics. So A, F, and E. For those of y'all who want to know how I make my 808s hit harder, I route the 808 to a mixer track. What I'll do is I'll make sure it peaks just under 0. Typically, it's at the spot where the line starts turning red. And then I go into the master track and I put this EQ on it right here. Typically, I put up the second band level a little bit and then I'll put this high band up. Usually it's a little higher, but some of my higher pitched drum sounds were already kind of loud and I didn't want to make those too loud. And then after that, I just put a normal soft clipper on it. Sometimes I'll mess around with the two knobs and just get a different sound out of the 808. And that really just comes down to personal preference. So that's going to be it for me. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you're able to take something away from it. Again, my 2021 compilation loop kit is in the description. Be sure to go check it out before the sale ends. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments below. And that'll be it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.
We'll be right back.